Imagine this. What if one day you stumbled upon a mysterious box, and inside that box, there was a gateway to infinite parallel universes? Worlds where the rules of reality are completely different. Some have no sun at all. Some have suns that are 10 times bigger than ours. In one universe, there are no humans. In another, humans are everywhere. Anything you can imagine, even your wildest thoughts, might exist in some corner of the multiverse. Today's story is about a brilliant physicist, a man who, using the power of his knowledge, manages to open a door to the multiverse and ends up paying a price he never expected. We begin with Jason, a physics professor living an ordinary life. He has a loving wife, Daniela, and a son, Charlie. He's happy with his family, but deep down, he's unfulfilled. His job at the college bores him. His students don't care, and every day he wonders, what if I had stayed on the path I started? You see, before he got married, Jason was working on a revolutionary project, a machine that could prove the existence of the multiverse. But after marriage, life took a different turn. He left research behind and settled into a safe, quiet life as a professor. One day, while driving his son to university, Jason receives a video call from an old friend, Ryan. He tells Jason that he's receiving a huge award that evening and is throwing a party at a bar nearby. He wants Jason to come celebrate. Jason smiles and congratulates him, but inside, it stings. That award could have been his if he had stayed on track with his research. His own success slipped away. That night, Jason tries to avoid the party. He ignores Ryan's calls and texts, but Daniela sees the messages and encourages him to go. A little fun won't hurt, she says. Jason arrives at the bar. He's greeted warmly by Ryan and even sees an old friend, Matt the bartender. The night is filled with laughter and nostalgia. Ryan eventually reveals his real reason for inviting Jason. He's launching a neurotech company and wants Jason to be part of it. He even promises double the salary. Jason is intrigued but asks for some time to think. On his way home, the night takes a dark turn. A masked man suddenly appears, points a gun at Jason, and robs him. But he doesn't stop there. He forces Jason into a van and takes him to a remote warehouse. Jason is beaten badly. The man steals his clothes, forces him into new ones, and injects him with something. Jason is terrified. The masked man only says one thing: "You won't believe it, even if I tell you." Jason falls unconscious. When he wakes up, he's on a stretcher. Strange doctors are surrounding him, treating him like a VIP. Then, he blacks out again. The next time he wakes up, he's in a bedroom. Confused and dazed, he's greeted by a woman named Amanda, who claims to be his wife. Jason is stunned. "No, my wife's name is Daniela," he says. But Amanda hugs him and acts like everything is normal. She takes him outside and introduces him to a man named Vince, someone Jason remembers from college, but now Vince is older and seems to be in charge. Vince explains that Jason disappeared 18 months ago during an experiment gone wrong, and now, suddenly, he's back. But Jason remembers nothing like that. According to him, he was only gone for a few hours. None of this makes sense. Jason tries to explain that something is wrong. He doesn't know Amanda. He doesn't know this place. But Amanda and Vince think he's just suffering from memory loss. Jason is overwhelmed. He runs away from the lab, grabs a taxi, and heads home. But when he reaches what he believes is his house, he's shocked. His wife Daniela isn't there. His son is missing. Instead, Amanda is there again, like she lives there. This is when the horrifying truth becomes clear. Jason is no longer in his own universe. Meanwhile, back in the original universe, Jason's wife Daniela is approached by someone who looks exactly like Jason. But he isn't. This is the masked man from earlier, the one who attacked Jason. He's here to take over Jason's life. To make things easier, we'll call this imposter Jay and the real Jason, well, Jason. Jason's home universe is Universe 1. Jay's universe is Universe 2. Now Jay is living with Daniela, acting sweet and kind, trying not to raise suspicion. They even get intimate, while the real Jason, lost in a foreign universe, begins to realize he's trapped in someone else's reality. Jason was completely lost. Nothing made sense anymore. He looked around the house, his house, but nothing felt right. He asked Amanda about Daniela, but she became furious. According to her, Jason had never behaved like this before. Jason began to carefully observe the items around the house, and that's when he made a shocking discovery. This universe's version of Jason had won all the awards and achieved everything that Jason from Universe 1 had only dreamed of. Now, even more confused and disturbed, Jason couldn't hold it together. Amanda, seeing his state, called the lab and requested security to come pick him up. But before they could reach, Jason escaped and ran straight to the bar where Ryan's party had been held earlier. There, he met Matt again, the bartender. But Matt didn't recognize him at all. That's when Jason's mind completely unraveled. In desperation, he checked himself into a nearby hospital to understand what was happening to him. Meanwhile, back in Universe 1, Jay, the fake Jason, was slowly adapting to his new life. He was learning every detail about Jason's world, family, and behavior so no one would suspect him. Clearly, he had come here with a purpose. But what was it? We'll find out soon. In Universe 2, Jason waited as doctors ran tests on him. When the results came back, they revealed something strange. There was no issue with his brain, but his blood contained an unknown chemical, one they couldn't identify. That was likely the same compound Jay had injected into him to knock him out. Jason's fear grew. The world around him had changed too fast, too suddenly. After speaking with the doctor for a while, Jason was hit with another shock. In this universe, he was a famous scientist with many patents to his name. But 18 months ago, he had vanished during an experiment. And now, out of nowhere, he was back. Jason asked the doctor to search for Daniela. But to his horror, he found that in this universe, he had never married her. Instead, Daniela was a well-known artist whose work was celebrated worldwide. This was strange because in Jason's universe, Daniela had left her art career to focus on raising their family. But here, she had never even met Jason. Desperate, Jason got Daniela's address and decided to go see her in person. Meanwhile, Amanda, Vince, and a security officer were having a serious discussion. They were confused by Jason's strange behavior. He wasn't acting like the Jason they knew. And since 3 other people had already disappeared during earlier experiments, they were terrified that Jason might expose everything. They needed to catch him, fast. When Jason finally met Daniela, he ran up and hugged her. But Daniela was confused. She had no idea why this man was behaving so emotionally. Jason then noticed her paintings, and his heart skipped a beat. All the paintings were of him. Why? Because in Jason's universe, he always used to ask Daniela, what if we could choose different paths in life and actually explore them through consciousness? These paintings were based on that idea, the multiverse. Seeing this, Jason grew even more confused. Just then, Ryan entered. But even he was surprised to see Jason here. Apparently, Jason never came to parties. But of course, everyone here thought this was the same Jason they knew. Ryan and Jason sat down to talk. From their conversation, Jason learned that the Jason of this universe regularly worked with Ryan. Ryan supplied certain chemicals to Jason's lab, ones that only he could create. Before Jason could ask more, Daniela joined them. The 3 sat together and talked about life, art, and more. Jason slowly started to open up. Meanwhile, back in Universe 1, Jay was still playing the role of Jason perfectly. But his strange behavior started making Daniela suspicious. For a moment, she doubted him, but Jay smoothly covered it up. Her suspicion faded, for now. Back in Universe 2, after the art auction ended, Jason sat with Ryan and Daniela. He began to open up about his experience. He told them everything, how he wasn't the Jason they thought he was. He explained that in his universe, he was married to Daniela, and they had a son named Charlie. They were a happy family. In fact, they had both sacrificed their careers to raise that family. Jason's voice trembled as he described the life he had lost, a life he was desperate to return to. But neither Ryan nor Daniela believed him. In this universe, the Jason they knew had chosen career over love. He'd walked away from Daniela, ending their relationship long ago. Still, something about his words stirred memories in Daniela's mind. She remembered Jason used to talk about multiverse theory often. He used to say even the smallest choices could create entirely new realities. But even now, she wasn't convinced. Ryan left. Jason, knowing he was being hunted by Vince's people, asked Daniela if he could stay at her place for the night. Surprisingly, she agreed. Later that evening, curious about Jason's universe, Daniela asked him to tell her what their life was like over there, where they were together. Jason shared everything: their love, their son Charlie, their happiness, and the sacrifices they made for each other. Daniela was moved. Deep down, she could feel the truth in his voice. And soon after, the 2 of them shared an intimate moment. The next morning, Jason took Daniela to his house, the house that actually belonged to Jay in this universe. There, he started pointing out details about the house, how different it was from his real home. Daniela listened closely. That's when we learned something shocking. This universe's Daniela had once been in a relationship with Jay. But when she got pregnant, Jay abandoned her. He said he couldn't be tied down. He wanted to finish his research at any cost. In contrast, Jason from Universe 1 had made the opposite choice. He had married Daniela, even though it meant sacrificing his career. That's why he was just a professor. But he was a happy man. Jason found Jay's multiverse files in the house, all the theories he had once started but never completed. Jay, however, had finished them. He had done it. He had cracked the multiverse. Reading those files, Jason realized that Jay had actually built a working multiverse box, a machine that allowed travel across alternate realities. But one big question still haunted Jason. Why had Jay gone to Jason's universe in the first place? Was it really just for Daniela? And if that were true, why hadn't Jay killed Jason while he had the chance? Why had he let him live? It almost seemed like Jay wanted Jason to come here, to Universe 2. But for what? Meanwhile, in Universe 1, we saw Jay arrive at a strange, hidden facility. Inside, he began inspecting a box, one that looked identical to the multiverse box mentioned in his theory. He planted surveillance cameras around it, noted Charlie's birth date, and then disappeared again. Back in Universe 2, just as Daniela was growing close to Jason, disaster struck. A security officer from Vince's company suddenly showed up and, without warning, shot Daniela dead. Jason was stunned. He had to watch her die right in front of him. Before he could react, the officer captured Jason and brought him to Vince. Vince, oddly calm, apologized for Daniela's death. Then he told Jason his story. When Vince was young, he lost his parents in a tragic accident. He was raised by his wealthy grandfather and inherited a massive fortune. One day, Jay approached him. He told Vince that if Vince funded his research, he would reveal the secrets of the multiverse, and maybe even help him meet his parents again. Vince, desperate for closure, invested everything into the project. That's how Jay got the resources he needed to complete the multiverse box. Jay built it, and to test it, he sent 3 people into different universes, but none of them ever came back. Jay told no one how to operate the box. Then, about 18 months ago, Jay himself stepped into the box without telling anyone, and from that moment, he vanished. After learning everything from Vince, Jason realizes that Vince's only goal is to learn how to travel the multiverse. Jason also knows that if Vince discovers he's not the real Jay of this universe, he will kill him instantly. So Jason pretends to have memory loss, acting as if he is Jay, who just forgot everything. Vince believes it and takes him to Jay's private computer files so Jason might remember his past by reading them. While going through the documents, Jason stumbles upon the mysterious multiverse box. At first, he doesn't understand how it works, but then he remembers the observer theory. If something isn't being observed, it behaves completely differently. That leads him to a breakthrough. Even if a person enters the box, their brain is still active and observing the surroundings. So how is travel possible if the brain is always functioning? That's when he realizes the truth. He reviews the recordings from the day Jay entered the box, and the footage from when he, Jason, was brought here. He discovers that the injection Jay gave him wasn't just a sedative. It was a compound that temporarily shuts down brain activity. That's how Jay brought Jason into this universe. Jason now understands everything, but he keeps the truth to himself, knowing if Vince finds out he's not their Jay, he'll be killed. A few days later, Vince confronts Jason and tells him he knows more than he's saying. Meanwhile, Ryan, who had been trying to help Jason, is also captured by Vince's men. After interrogating Ryan, they confirm that this Jay is actually Jason from another universe. Vince beats Jason brutally and gives him a final warning. He has only 2 days to figure out how the multiverse box works, or he will be executed. Back in Universe 1, we see Jay happily living with Neela and doing his best to convince her and Franklin that he's the real Jason. Neela is still suspicious but doesn't confront him directly. Meanwhile, in Universe 2, Jason and Ryan are locked in the same room. Jason learns from Ryan that the sedative compound, the one that can turn off brain activity, was actually developed by him. Ryan explains that their universe's Jay had secretly been ordering custom chemicals for months, and the same chemical used to transport Jason was created by Ryan himself. Luckily, a stash of these compounds is still hidden somewhere in the lab. Jason comes up with a plan. He wants to steal the compound and use the box to return to his original universe. But the lab is heavily guarded. On the other side, Amanda learns the truth, that Jason is not from their universe and that Vince plans to kill him in 2 days. She decides to help Jason escape. Amanda sneaks into the lab, gets to Jason, and helps him break out. They steal the chemical-filled suitcase and rush toward the box. As they're escaping, Vince and his men spot them and give chase. Just in time, Jason and Amanda inject themselves with the chemical and enter the box. Moments later, Vince checks the machine, but the chamber is empty. He is furious. Inside the multiverse box, Jason and Amanda wake up to find themselves surrounded by thousands of doors, each leading to a different parallel universe. But neither of them knows which door leads back to Universe 1. Amanda asks how many doors there could possibly be. Jason explains that if even the smallest change in thought can create a new possibility, then each of those possibilities exists as a real universe. That means new parallel worlds are created constantly with every new decision or idea. Amanda is stunned. They now realize it might be impossible to find Jason's original universe. Still, they make a plan. They decide to open each door, one by one, until they find the correct universe. They step into the first universe, only to hear strange noises outside. When they go out to investigate, they find a post-apocalyptic world. All buildings are crumbling, abandoned, and lifeless. Suddenly, a building begins to collapse right in front of them. Terrified, they rush back into the box. They now have only 48 injections left, and each injection can only be used once for entering a new universe. So now Jason and Amanda realize that the injection they took only allows them to stay in a parallel universe for about 30 minutes. Understanding this, Jason decides they'll only open the doors to check briefly if the universe looks familiar, then move on. They open the second door, but it leads to a massive storm, so they shut it immediately. The third door reveals a completely empty, humanless world. Meanwhile, Vince also figures out the working of the injections and grabs a pack before jumping into the multiverse box himself. Jason and Amanda go on checking universe after universe, but in none of them do they find any signs of human life. Amanda begins to panic and runs around in frustration. Jason calms her down, explaining that every possibility exists in some universe. That means, in some universes the guards may have caught them, but to survive, they must find a universe that still has food and shelter. Amanda agrees. They open another door and arrive in a version of Vince's Velocity Lab. At first it seems calm, but then Amanda realizes this is the same universe they discussed earlier, the one where the guards had killed her and recaptured Jason. Shocked, Amanda runs back to the box with Jason, but when they try the other doors, they still see nothing but destruction. Amanda feels hopeless and starts to believe they'll be stuck in this void forever. In frustration, she throws open another door and runs out into a snowy landscape. Jason follows her, only to find her unconscious in the snowstorm. He picks her up and carries her into a nearby house, where he builds a fire using wood to keep her warm. The next morning, Jason sees that nearly 10 to 12 feet of snow has covered everything, including the multiverse box. They have no idea where it is. As they discuss, Amanda recalls her childhood in Argentina, where she used to see similar snow with her father. She says that when she opened the last door, she was thinking of that place. That's when Jason has a realization. The doors are linked to their thoughts. He remembers that right after they thought about the universe where they were caught by guards, the next door they opened led them exactly there. So, each universe they access is influenced by their state of mind when they open the door. He tells Amanda that if they calm their minds and focus clearly, they might find a universe with human life, maybe even his original universe. He also remembers that inside the multiverse box, electromagnetic fields don't work, so they use a compass to track down where the box might be buried. Using the compass, they locate the direction where the needle starts behaving erratically, a sign of the box's presence. They dig through the thick snow and finally uncover the multiverse box once again. They're overwhelmed with joy. On the other side, we see Vince, who has been following them across dangerous parallel worlds. He's injured and broken from the journey. Now he's unsure what to do next. And in Universe 1, we finally see Jay, the fake Jason, who is now preparing something sinister, a very dangerous plan. But to know what that plan is, you'll have to wait for part 2 of this explanation. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Comment below if you want the second part, and I'll definitely bring it for you. Until then, goodbye and take care.